Hey friends, Lulu here. I was in Walmart and saw this plastic ashtray and thought I just had to have it and craft with it. I always am looking for different things, different surfaces to use. So I took this Plaster Paint Company new surface, and this is the first time I was using it. I usually use Bonding Boss or gesso, but I thought I'd give this a try, and I love it. It only takes 20 minutes to dry. And I just used one coat for this. You could do 2 coats. It's good for metal, plastic, glass, just all kinds of different surfaces that the paint's hard to stick to. So after I do that, I'm going to give it 1 coat of Plaster by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint the whole thing inside and outside. And it's I'm just going to do 1 coat of this also because I'm going to be crackling the inside, and the outside we're going to be putting a napkin on it. Once I get the entire inside and outside painted, I will give it a dry, and then it'll be ready to go to the next step. You want to make sure that when you're doing the inside, that you don't have any, or the inside and outside, you don't have any clumps of paint, because it'll be too thick and difficult to dry, and also it won't look really good. So just make sure you have a nice smooth surface, and this is covering that plaster paint new surface really nicely. So I'm just making sure, just do it well, and then get it all dry. And when I was editing this, I cut out the part where I put the crackle medium inside it, and so bummer, I'm so sorry. So what I did was give it a real thin coat of crackle medium. You could use Mod Podge if you want for the crackle or glue also, but I use crackle medium. And so once I did that, I dried it, and now I'm putting a coat of Ocean by Waverly on the inside, not the outside. So I'm going to do the inside and the in between where the cigarettes or the paintbrush will go. And once I get that done, you'll see it starts to crackle so fast. That crackle medium just crackles so fast. And I'm really happy with the look of it. I wanted it to be darker on the inside, just because that's my preference. It kind of looks like that old enamel, those old enamel tins that they made coffee pots and things in the West, and they still sell those today. So see how I'm going to use it for a paintbrush holder? So after I have the whole inside and outside dry, the next step is going to be to put the napkin on. Now make sure you remove all the plies of the napkin. This was a 3-ply napkin. I went ahead and removed them before I got started. And I just want the butterflies on this. So I am using the straight top edge is going to go around the top of the outside. And make sure you cut it wide enough. So for me, I wanted it's just a small amount, so I didn't have a lot of curving to do. And so I was able to get just the width from the top to the bottom. I am not going to put a napkin or paint the very bottom. I'm leaving that black. So I am using dishwasher safe Mod Podge for my coating. I'm going to use it to put it on, put the napkin on, and I'm also going to use it to seal it. You can use whatever you want to use to put it on. A lot of times you'll see me using polyacrylic, but I definitely, if I use that first, I would then seal it with the dishwasher safe Mod Podge because I want to be able to wash it. I've thrown those things in the washer before using the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, but if you can hand wash it, I just feel like you get a longer use out of it. And this is just going to be for my paintbrushes, so it shouldn't get that messy. So I'm just lining it around the top. The straight edge of the napkin is going to be lined across the tip top. And I'm then just going to be applying little bits of the Mod Podge as I go. So since this is the surface isn't straight or flat, it's best to just apply it in small pieces and don't get too heavy-handed with it. Just lay it down. I'm using gloves, so it's kind of almost like using the saran wrap. I'm wearing gloves because I'm a messy crafter and I'm tired of having it all over my hands. So anyway, having the paint all over my hands. So I'm just applying that down. Look how smooth that is and how nice. And I'm just going all the way down to the edge, and I'm not wrapping it under at the bottom of the ashtray, I am just leaving it hanging because we'll sand that off in a minute. So once you get all your napkin put on and just go round and round. Oh yeah, hey, give me a follow. Thanks. Once you go all the way around, then if you see any small pieces where you may have torn it, or which I did in this case, I must have done something. I just find a piece that's going to match pretty well over it, and I put some more Mod Podge down, and I just put the napkin on top of the piece that where the tear was, and then I just remove the excess, and it's just that easy. You can't even see that it was applied. If you were to inspect it, you would not see where I tore that piece and reapplied a new piece. That's the beauty of working with a napkin. You can match things up pretty well and you don't see the seams. So once I get that tapped down, see, you can't even see it. So now we're going to just make sure all the pieces are laying down flat. Now don't rub, I'm just patting. You don't want to tear your napkin any more than you need to. I mean, it happens, and if you can avoid it, don't. So I'm just drying it up a little bit. Just getting it nice and dry. So that, because if you're working with a napkin and it's too wet and you go to sand it, you're going to tear the napkin. And so you just want to make sure it's pretty dry so that you can get that sanding gator and sand off the extra. And remember, when you're sanding a napkin, you always want to go away from you and not back and forth, just one direction. And I always go away from me, and that way, and towards, not towards the napkin piece itself, but away from it. And so you'll see me do that in a second. But once we get that dry, we're ready to sand off the extra and then work on the in-between where the cigarette or paintbrush will go. Now, another tip for you is just don't be excited and rush everything, right? So see how I'm sanding that? Watch how I'm sanding away from me and away from the project. You want to make sure, and you don't do it too fast. See how that goes? Too simple. Too simple. So you've got a dry napkin and you're ready to go. And then the little pieces just come right off. And this actually pulled the label off. So when I'm all done and I seal it, I'll also seal the bottom. So far so good. We're all on the same page. A gator is a good tool. I got my gator from Walmart. You can also buy them on Amazon. Amazon has a really, it's like a knockoff gator where you get a ton of extra little sanding pieces, the Velcro pieces to put on there. So look how cute that is. Looking good so far. Looking good so far. Now I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and, oh wait, no I'm not. Now I'm going, making sure that all the edges are all sealed down. There you go. There's our paintbrush holder. So now I take the X-Acto knife and I'm going to slit in the middle where the little notches are, the little notches for the paintbrush or for the cigarette. And I'm just making a slit. And then I have this really cute little stick that's I think it's for nails, for people who work in the nail salons. It's got a little bit of sandpaper on the edge. It looks like a skewer. And I'm just going to grab that. And I'm going to use that now to sand in between. You can get those on Amazon also. So I'm just pushing between. Now, if you have little pieces of the napkin that are like kind of flyaway pieces that you're having a hard time removing, don't worry, because when you go to seal it, you'll flatten those down in between with your paintbrush, and that'll just seal to the plastic ashtray. So don't worry about pulling off all the fine little pieces. They will flatten down and adhere to the ashtray. So once we get all those removed, all we have to do is put our coat of, I'm going to use the dishwasher Mod Podge to go over mine, and I might give it 2 coats. I'm not quite sure, but I will seal the outside and the inside. And then you can also use a engine spray or a heat resistant sealer. And those are other things you can use, and that way you can rinse them off. But I don't know how those would go in the dishwasher. But they do hold up well outside, I know, because I use them for outside projects. So it would be good probably for hand washing. I don't know if I'd run it through the dishwasher. Although it says it's heat resistant, here you go, heat resistant of 2,000 degrees. And I don't know of anything that's 2,000 degrees. But that's what I use for sealing things from the weather. I've used it for things that have gone through snow, heat, hot summers and cold winters, and they still look as vibrant as they did the day I painted them. So it's a really good sealer. But I'm going to use, in this case, the dishwasher Mod Podge. So there we go. And I hope you like what you see. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'd appreciate you giving me a subscribe and a like and any comments that you might have. So I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for joining me. And here's the final project. Look how cute the crackle looks inside, and I just love it. So I'm going to be enjoying this for years to come. I'll be able to have it on my desk and just love the butterflies. So have a great time. I hope this inspires you. Come on back and see me again.